Hello and welcome to the 10 Star Happy Hour podcast. My name is Brennan Robinson, and here with me today is Philip Wilhelm. And today we're going to be talking about email marketing and segmentation. And this is our first episode of the season where we just have two team members on the podcast today. And yeah, we've got a lot of fun things to talk about. And Philip's been so excited to get back on the podcast because it's been a while since
Yeah.
you've been on a podcast. How
You've
long has it been?
I don't know. It feels like years, and you've been meeting with these awesome clients of ours, but I haven't been on the agenda.
Yeah, I haven't put you on the schedule, but decided to today because I think that there's a lot of important stuff that we have to talk about, and um, I really want the podcast just to be a resource for everyone to go and watch. And I want everyone to be comfortable with reaching out to us with any questions. We've received a handful of questions that we've had the opportunity to answer since this season has started. So thanks for sending those questions in. Feel free to send as many questions as you like. We're here to answer any questions you have, um, especially for anyone who's working with a ticketing company or looking for a ticketing company for the first time. Um, there's so many questions that someone could have, and
Well, it's kind of funny how one question leads to another question, and then a conversation, and then we're never historically trying to sell anything. We just enjoy what we do. So then we'll ask other follow up questions, and then it gets the ball rolling.
yeah,
And there's definitely a lot of moving parts, especially when it comes to the marketing and promotion of
right.
an air show.
And not every ticketing company, actually, very few, not many at all. We might be the only ones in the air show industry, as far as a ticketing company goes, who will handle your marketing for you.
Right.
Um,
And I know historically, when we don't get the opportunity to work with an air show, we're still getting calls from them. And if anything, that's a testament to the trust I think that we end up building, which to me is a metric that I look at where I care that people know that they could go to us for the unvarnished truth. And sometimes they don't like what they hear, but they appreciate hearing it because most people on the other side, um, it, it's a hard reality sometimes to have to present to a client. So, from the event marketing side, why don't you give me a little breakdown of what email segmentation is?
yeah, yeah. So email segmentation and segmentation is about your list, right? So if you have one master list of all of your emails, how do you break that list up into segments so that you can better target specific people on your email list with information or promotion that's relevant to them in particular?
Mm-hmm.
Um, why is that important? Why shouldn't I just send out email blasts to everyone on my list? Well, because one, your conversion rate is going to be way lower. You're in a way just not being efficient as you could be. Two, you're going to have more unsubscribes because you're sending all of your emails to everyone, and perhaps not everyone cares about every single email you send out. Um, think, for example, right before your show, whenever you send out know before you go information. Well, we see a lot of know before you go emails that will include basically a dump of all the information that all attendees should know about. And that email is so long. And if you didn't know, um, people don't read long emails. They don't spend the time reading long emails. Everyone's busy. Um, Attention spans are low, and it's important to be very precise, or concise rather, with the information that you're sharing with attendees, or a prospect list or previous buyers list. Um, and you can be a lot more personal with those segments in your email list. And if you know all of your Flightline Club attendees from last year, for example, you can target that specific segment in your email list about buying a Flightline Club table for this year's show. Um, and because they bought one last year, they're going to be most interested in buying again. You already have a list of previous ticket buyers who are going to be most likely to purchase that table again. And getting back to the know before you go information, well, Flightline Club ticket purchasers, they may have a VIP parking pass, a premium parking pass, and they may have different directions for getting to their parking lot.
Right.
Or maybe it's valuable to provide them with a different pin that you dropped on Google Maps.
Hmm.
Um, because we all know for an air show, traffic is no fun. Having a very detailed, well thought through parking plan is very important. Ingress and egress, very, very difficult. But what you want to think about and put a priority on first is getting people into the show, as easy as possible, making that as easy as possible for attendees, having as much signage as possible to make it very clear where they need to go, having enough parking attendants, giving those attendees the right directions in their own directions. So instead of in your know before you go email, for example, having five different, so that say you have 4 or 5 different parking locations, um, and part of your parking plan is to send um, attendees to parking lot A, B, C, and you're just going to go ahead and email them with directions to their dedicated parking lot. Maybe it's dependent on the parking pass they purchased, or maybe it's not, which I think is kind of cool because we did that for an air show this year actually, um, where we basically went ahead and made the decision. Okay, we're going to send these 800 ticket buyers to this parking lot. We're going to send this 1,500
Hmm.
to this other lot. And we went ahead and emailed all of those attendees separately by segmentation, using segmentation to send those attendees to the lot that we wanted them to park at. And it went so well because traffic wasn't nearly as bad. All those attendees had separate directions to get to that parking lot. So we prevented traffic jams. Not everyone was, funneling to the same road, the same gate um, to get to, all different places. And and yeah, you can also tell people to arrive to the show at different times, which is unique. If you have a large jet team air show and your show starts at 10 o'clock, you start telling attendees to get there at 8 o'clock.
Hmm.
It's really important to get there early. This is a big air show. You're going to make a day out of it. Let attendees know that um, you're going to dedicate your day to coming to the air show. You need to get here early. And perhaps we recommend leaving late, for the best experience. Because if you try to leave right when the show's over and you leave when everyone else is leaving, well, you're going to sit in traffic. Um, and so, yeah, when it comes to segmentation, it's so crucial to break up your email list with, depending on the tickets they purchased, whether they've bought in the past before, whether or not they, you can also look at engagement levels. Maybe they haven't opened an email in like a month or 3 months. Um, you can put those emails into a separate list, separate segment, and send them a different email than you would people who've already purchased tickets. So when it comes to segmentation, it's a must. You have to um, use segmentation when it comes to email marketing because otherwise, you're going to end up sending a know before you go email to someone who hasn't opened an email from you in like 6 months, you know, and maybe that makes them unsubscribe because they're like, why am I getting this email? I'm not even going to this event. Um, or you're sending a very perhaps salesy email to um, someone who, say you're like 2 days out before the event and it's your final push for ticket sales online before the show starts. And, you're sending a very salesy email to someone who's just not interested at all. They haven't started the checkout process. They haven't even clicked on anything on any email campaign. They haven't visited the ticket sales page. Um, and we don't want people to unsubscribe. We really don't. It's not the end of the world if they do, but we want to do anything that we can to prevent that from happening. So sending relevant information to all of your segments within your email list um, is crucial.
So, got a question for you. With events and event marketing, I've we've talked already this season about a lot of different aspects, sponsorship, addressing logistics with parking, from even messaging and strategies with structuring tickets. Let's talk a little bit more about the ticket buyer marketing. So, we set up a show, we start getting sales, we start getting all the emails, phone numbers, and the event themselves wants to start sending off messaging to different groups, let's say the premium seating or just the general admission. What are the approaches, generally speaking, that a show should be considering, whether they're doing the marketing themselves or they're handing it off? What are best practices, Brennan?
Yeah. So best practices in that regard. One, you want to make sure that you have a plan going into marketing your event when it comes to email marketing specifically. That's a cadence of how often you're going to send emails, and that's just in general, and that's also specific to any specific messaging that you're sending to ticket buyers. Um, One important thing to note is that people who've already purchased tickets to your show, they're going to be your most avid, they're going to be your biggest fans. So it's important to continue sending them emails because they're most likely to share with other people, whether that's forwarding an email to someone else, whether that's just increasing your word of mouth. And we actually have a feature inside of a 10 star called Ticket Buyer Buzz where you can set up automated emails every 10 days starting 5 weeks out from your event to send to people who've already purchased tickets. And those links that you input into the fields into the feature, they're going to be social share links. So whenever those attendees receive those emails from Ticket Buyer Buzz, they can easily share those links on their Facebook, for example. And it's a great way to just create a ton of buzz around your event. Once somebody purchases a ticket, don't stop emailing them.
Well, what about for those that, let's say, they don't actually check out and we don't have a sale? What
Yeah,
would the approach be then? You segment those two groups, one being buyers and those being essentially prospects.
yeah, yeah. So you can call it your retargeting list or prospect list. There's a few different ways. I would segment your email list into uh, current buyers, people who've already purchased tickets to your event, and then people who started to check out but didn't finish the checkout process, your abandoned cart list, your retargeting list, re-engagement, um, and then your third list at minimum would be your prospect list, those who are perhaps a nearby ticket buyer,
Past attendees, I'm guessing.
past attendees, people who've bought in the past and just haven't purchased again or started the checkout process for this upcoming event.
So, from the standpoint of structuring these lists, we break it down by current buyers, those that abandoned cart, or those that never converted, and lastly, a prospect list, which could be sponsors, other patrons, past attendees. And then what do you do from that standpoint? I mean, you talked about that one communication strategy doesn't apply to all. So it sounds like best practice would be messaging needs to be specific for those three groups. And I'm guessing it gets much more complex from there, right?
Yeah, yeah, but it's important to note that this really isn't that complicated. But you definitely want to work with someone who knows what they're doing. And yeah, like so when your event goes on sale, you're going to have a previous buyers list. Perhaps you start with a pre-sale campaign. You send all those previous buyers an email. Maybe you discount tickets. Maybe you don't. With a lot of the shows that we work with, we don't discount tickets, but we just give those previous attendees early access, which is specifically important to um, for premium seating, reserve seating. Those previous buyers, you reward them for attending the air show in the past, and you give them the chance to select their reserve seats before anyone else can. Um, but you have those previous attendees. You have, perhaps from your last show or previous shows, you have a retargeting list. All those abandoned carts, people who started the checkout process in the past, but they just never bought tickets to your show. So you get that list as well. And if you have, if you're an air show that has been collecting emails for several years, has been ticketing online for several years, then you know you've got perhaps a 2022 list or a 2024 list. You've got 2016 lists. Whenever your air
Yeah.
shows were, um, you're going to have previous buyers for multiple different years, and you can actually take a look at that list and see, okay, how many of these attendees came to multiple air shows, how many came to just one, and that gives you an idea of, okay, like this list of 500 people, they've come to every single air show that
That's
we've
a good
had.
point.
Let's give our most loyal ticket buyers a discount and make them very happy.
Yeah. Reward that.
Yeah, reward that, and they're going to notice that and really appreciate it, and they're going to talk even more about your air show, and they're going to try to get more people to come with them, or post, repost, reshare things on on their Facebook page that you post on Facebook, or they're going to forward emails along to friends and family, and um, it goes a long way. It really does. And then, after you go on sale initially, if you have a pre-sale, then you're going to have a general public on sale after that pre-sale. And when I say pre-sale, some people think of pre-sale as any sale that happens before the show. Um, but what I'm talking about is uh, pre-general public on sale. Um, and so, yeah, after your pre-sale, you have your general public on sale where everyone else gets emailed. Um, and you know, during that time from pre-sale to general public on sale, we like to run a pre-sale campaign for about 48 hours, 2 days. We give previous buyers 2 days to buy tickets before everyone else can.
Hmm.
And what you can do is you can exclude, if you're using segmentation properly, you can exclude everyone who's bought a ticket during that pre-sale from your general public on sale email,
Yep.
just because it's 2 days apart. um,
Well, and there's nothing more embarrassing than sending, "Hey, we're on sale," and you just send it to someone that's already purchased. It's like,
right.
what are you doing? You
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
So
yeah.
I think you make a strong point with making sure that when you do set up any sort of segmentation, you actually have it set up properly and you're monitoring it. And logically speaking, you know how it works where you're not going to send that same email to someone who's already received it and the timing's bad. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yeah,
Like, hey, you should buy premium seating. I already bought premium seating.
right.
So why did I get that email?
Yeah.
And that leads me to my next question. Why is personalized messages and email campaigns important versus sending just the shotgun approach where we send it to our entire list. This is, on sale announcement or ongoing promotions, and we shotgun it to the entire list.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, Event managers, air show directors, a lot of people that we work with, they often refer to email campaigns as email blasts. And when I think of email blast, I think of an email that goes out to everyone.
Yeah.
Um, and we don't want to really ever do that. The only time maybe we want to send out a true blast to everyone is perhaps like if your show gets canceled, and you just want to inform everyone to get the word out. Um,
Tell me why we wouldn't want to do an email blast to everyone outside of the scenario for like some sort of crisis or some sort of important alert.
yeah. Well, it's just a matter of understanding whenever you're sending your email or you're designing your email, you're writing your copy. Does this apply to everyone?
Good point.
If it doesn't apply to 100% of your list, don't send it to everyone. Just don't.
Well, I mean, it sounds like everything that we're suggesting right now is actually creating more work for the event team if they're doing it themselves.
Right.
Bluntly, I mean,
Yeah.
I guess that's the downside of it, but the upside is you have people who, correct me if I'm wrong, are less likely to unsubscribe. They're less likely to not read the email, and they're actually more likely to forward it, share it, and actually interact with it. Because, I mean, these buyers and even prospects, we want to develop trust and rapport. I mean, in many cases, we're representing the air show on their behalf with all the marketing that we do, especially ticket buyers. So I would hate it for us to teach a behavior of this is another sales email. This is something that is completely useless and not relevant. And then there's a pattern of them not opening those emails.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You don't want to lose trust of people on your email list. And when I say that, um, if you send a bunch of irrelevant emails to people on your email list, then eventually they're going to receive another email from you that may be actually relevant to them and they don't even open it
Yeah.
because they just lost that trust of, um, oh, I'm just getting another email. And for air shows, whenever we um, we find that with the cadence, right? You have a general cadence of sending emails, and that cadence, what it looks like is, after pre-sale, after your general public on sale, you're going to be sending emails once a month leading up to 6 weeks before the event, and then once you're 6 weeks out, you're going to send out weekly emails, and then the week of the event, we're going to send three, perhaps even four emails that week of the show, and that's going to be like your general cadence. So what goes along with that is, say you're 3 months out and we're sending out an email campaign for to promote premium box seats, and it's an email all about premium box seats. Well, there's going to be a lot of people on your email list who've perhaps already bought premium box seats. Um, and those folks should still receive an email. They should receive their monthly email, but they shouldn't receive that main email that you're sending for that month. So perhaps they're receiving something like a ticket buyer buzz email, um, where perhaps you send them a social share link, um, or you perhaps send those premium box seat ticket holders who have already purchased. You send them maybe important know before you go information about their premium box seats. Hey, thank you for purchasing a premium box seat to the air show. This is everything that you're getting by with your purchase.
Well, and taking that a step further, let's say they have the topmost tier for the available ticket types, and let's say it's Flightline Club, which is commonly used amongst air shows, but they may have a different vernacular. Where they, for instance, have on-site parking, let's say at a military base. And more often than not, from a support side, we see tons of questions. Hey, I purchased the Flightline Club. It's about a month and a half out. Where's my parking pass? Well, let's say for the military base, there's security clearance that's needed. So there's additional steps. In that email, you could say, hey, you're not going to receive your parking pass right away. You will be contacted by someone from the air show about next steps and required information. And here's the protocol that we're going to be following for approval to allow you access on
Mhm.
base.
Well, cool. Thanks so much for sitting down and doing this, Phil. I'm glad you made it on the schedule. Reach out to us with any questions. Call us, email us. We're happy to answer any questions that you have. Um, as always, you can always find us at ICAST in December in Las Vegas. Yeah, thanks for joining the 10 Star Happy Hour podcast. My name is Brennan Robinson, and here with me today is Philip Wilhelm, and we look forward to talking to you next time. Thanks.